Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the stream today. I am the company's expert, and welcome to Let's Talk Business. Now, I made the thumbnail green this time, so that probably means that less people will show up, because as we all know, green is not a professional color, at least not for business. But you are here, and that means that you are awesome. I see there are 3 people here, a whopping 3 people. You guys are the ones that showed up, so thank you very much. We are going to talk about success. We're going to talk about success in your career. We're going to talk about success in terms of entrepreneurship, if you're into that. Some people are into that. We're going to be talking about success in life in general and all things kind of related to that, and also making money. That's where we're going to go today. And I really don't have a plan. I decided today I'm just going to throw in the towel and just... let's see what happens. But we got some people here. If you're here, say who you are in the chat. Say where you're listening from. I always find that incredibly interesting because of this beautiful, wonderful, globally connected world we have now. Maham, if I'm saying that, says hello. Hello, Maham. It's good to have you here. And I see that feed is moving faster, but I'm going to go off this one because it's a little bit bigger. And oh my God, it's Min. Min has been here for the last several live streams. So hello, Min. Yes, good evening. It's morning for me. It's Sunday morning for me, but it's evening for you. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things. And I'm also going to try out something new, a little bit of new technology today. And Kabir Kin is here. Hi, from India. Hello, India. Yes. And Cork, Ireland. Mark Brown, listening from West Cork, Ireland. Top of the marnin to you. I know you're probably sick of that. I mean, I am known worldwide for my Irish accent. At least I am now. And you were here for that. That just happened. Alana from Russia. Right on. Hello, Alana. You guys are awesome. There's 11 people here. So yes, we are going to talk about this stuff. And let me start by saying one of the things that I learned early on that really helped me was to recognize opportunities. And there are some people out there that think like this, and there are some people that really don't. Okay. One of the more useful things that I learned in my life in terms of business and careers and that sort of thing is be able to recognize opportunities. If you have how can I put this? If you have a talent or an ability or a capability, anything like that, and you start to see the fact that people are drawn to that, you know, it has potential. People are interested. People want more of it. Okay. There are some people that recognize that. You know, there's a lot of people that that doesn't register with them. They just think, oh, well, okay, yeah, I can do that, but that's not what I do. And I don't have time for that. You know, something like this. That's kind of how they think. And then there's other people that they see this response they're getting to something they kind of put out there in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they mentioned something. Maybe they did something and showed it off. Maybe they took pictures of it and put it online. And they're getting a response. They're getting interest. And these people who are tuned into that, they kind of think like, you know, I'm getting a response. There might be something in this. Right? And that's the beginning of entrepreneurship. And why should you care about this? Because some people are into this, some people aren't. But if you are, it can be a way to career freedom, financial freedom, and not only that, not just making money, but having the freedom to make money on your own terms, okay? Because on my channel, we talk about getting a job and working as an employee. That's kind of the main thing most people are interested in. And usually when people are young, that is kind of a thing that more people are interested in. But as you get a little bit older, you know, you see your capabilities. You see that you're capable of so much more. And wouldn't it be great if you could make money and also do something that's satisfying. You're not working on somebody else's schedule. You're not working at somebody else's behest and you're under their thumb and they tell you what to do and you have no choice but to do it. And you have to make some hard life decisions, like putting your family second as opposed to putting your career first. Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to compromise on stuff like that? Well, maybe, if that's appealing to you and you're at that stage of life, maybe, starting to learn a bit about entrepreneurship might not be a bad thing. Even just to have a side hustle, something on the side, something that doesn't cost very much, doesn't take up much of your time, but you make income from it. So I find that stuff fascinating. I have a passion for business. I have an interest in business. And I like to share that with people. Who else do we have here? Mark Brown says, LOL. Awesome. Yes, I am known for my comedy. I'm here every Sunday. And another Bill. Look at that. Bill. Us Bills have to stick together. We have a connection that no one else has. It's 10 p.m. in China. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's wonderful how everyone's listening at a different time. I'm just flattered you guys are listening to me at all kinds of weird times of the day. Hello from Germany. Hello. What is hello in German? It isn't jawohl. That's yes, sir, or something. But yeah, let me know. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or something like that. I'm sure that's horrible, but no one has ever heard me say that except for my family and you guys. So you should feel very privileged. Min says, I've watched your quality management and business strategy videos. They are fantastic and I love it. I am planning to do a PhD in quality management. Okay, well, then we have something to talk about then. That's good. You see, the problem I have is that I don't want to try and talk to people like it's a university lecture, because there's nothing more boring than sitting through a university lecture, especially when, you're starting from zero, right? It's hard to talk to a sort of general public audience and talk about stuff that's very sophisticated, because a lot of people are starting from zero. They don't have the foundation. They don't have the background. So you start talking to them about complicated things and it just doesn't work. They tune out. So I feel I have to always talk about sort of basic stuff. And I haven't found a solution to talk about more sophisticated things and still have people show up for it. That's kind of been my problem. But that's great. Maybe we'll touch into that. If you have any specific questions or something, feel free to ask. It is hello. Okay. Do you have to say it like that? Hello. I do not have a German accent, as I'm sure you guessed. But, if I could live 1,000 lifetimes, I would learn German. It's something that I have an interest in. Anup. Is that where you're listening from? Is that the name of the place? Namaste from India? Awesome. So yes, we could start talking about this. I mean, my contrast for my video is, just bear with me 1 second. You would think that they'd be able to invent a way to auto-adjust your brightness, but they don't. Not on this system I have, not on Streamlabs OBS. Here we go. Perfect. Excellent. So yes, I mean, I have always felt that entrepreneurship is an extension of the whole getting a job thing. Okay? Not many people see it that way. I see it that way. Because think about it this way. You could spend your entire life working for somebody else. And certainly when you're young, when you're starting out, yes, there's definitely a place for that. And I completely understand. And if you're out of work right now and you're looking for a job, I mean, I get it. Okay? That's priority one. And you don't have time to consider all these kind of extra things. But put it this way. Instead of working for somebody else, wouldn't it be awesome if you could work for yourself? That means you keep all the money, you do precisely what you want, you're your own boss, you decide how hard you want to work. Okay? Generally, the harder you work, the more money you make, right? But you can find that balance, that compromise. And as we all know, as we go through life, sometimes we feel more inspired to work harder, and sometimes we don't, right? So it's kind of cool if you have a bit of flexibility that way. So these are some of the advantages of looking into entrepreneurship. And like I mentioned on the last stream, one of the fringe benefits is things like inflation. Inflation, I believe, is starting to be a little bit of a global kind of thing right now. Certainly where I am in North America, it is, in the last few months, it has been an issue. And if you are working for a fixed income, you're making a salary or you're making an hourly wage, once again, this is a problem for you because the money coming in is fixed, but the money going out, your expenses and your costs, they're all variable, right? They depend on things like inflation. If prices go up, you got to pay it, but you're only bringing the same amount of money in. So, you have your own, if you're in business selling something, you are insulated to a large degree from the effects of inflation. If all the prices are going up for consumers and your prices are going up for your suppliers, you raise your prices, and then you basically have the difference between the money that you have coming in, the money that's going out, and it just floats like that, right? So there's a lot of advantages. I pronounced it great. Well, let me assure you that was totally a fluke, Patrick. But thank you for saying so. You made me feel better. You made me feel like I could start talking in any language I don't know, and everyone will love it, and I'll get it right. And I'm sure that's realistic. Namaste means hello in India. Okay, I didn't know that. Namaste. Now, I'm assuming, once again, maybe I should shut up, but I'm assuming that that's in Hindi, right? Judd says, yes, that's true. I started my company because no one would sponsor me for management. Yes, a lot of times that's how it goes. And the reality is that in a lot of situations, if you're in a organization, they really don't have a genuine interest in promoting you. If you're a great employee, they want you right where you are. The only reason they promote you a lot of times is the fear that you would leave. So we have to promote this person or they're likely going to leave soon because they're talented. They could get a job somewhere else. We want to keep them. So I suppose we'd better do something for them, right? You might have personal goals to climb the ladder and to learn new things and develop new skills. The company or the organization doesn't necessarily share those skills. A lot of times they don't. They say they do. It's the correct thing to say in terms of employee relations and all this kind of stuff and public relations. They want to be perceived as someone who, as an entity that they want you to further your goals, but really they don't. Okay, most of the time they don't. So that's rather common, Judd. In order to keep moving forward or climbing upward, you have to do things on your own. Instead of sort of standing in line, waiting your turn. Waiting for that promotion. Especially if you're in an environment where seniority is kind of a thing, right? You're told to wait in line. That's kind of the message that you get from that culture. It's not your time yet. There are other people ahead of you. They will get promoted before you, right? And so you wait and you just trust that it's going to happen. And as we've seen over the last few decades, ever since the 1970s, really, a lot of times that never happens. You never get to that point and you're burned, right? You put in your time doing the grunt work, expecting that there would be a payoff later, and surprise, surprise, there's no payoff. What have we got here? Bala Krishna says, how to improve my skill for business as a student? What direction should I go? What skills do I need to develop? Listen, a lot of people, when asked that, would talk about what kind of education you should get, what training you should get. Okay? Like, for example, I have my course, right? The $100 MBA, link in the description. So there's that, but actually that's not my answer. My answer is if you really want to learn business, there is no better learning than to learn by doing. So I would suggest you start some kind of business entity. You learn by doing. You will never learn as much, and you will never learn as much practical skills than if you're actually doing it. Now, when I say this, a lot of people freak out. They think like, oh my God, I don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on starting a company, and I don't have, the ability to focus on this full time. Well, I don't mean that. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, you could start some kind of business venture today, this very day. I don't care if it's evening where you are, like it is for our friend in China. You could still start this very day. If you have a computer, that's connected to the internet, maybe even if you just have a phone, if it's a half-decent smartphone, you can start that business right now for zero amount of money. The only work it's going to take is thinking work. You got to figure out what you're going to do, that kind of stuff. And then you start the marketing process, which is getting the word out there. Right? I do this. And thanks to social networking and the internet, it's never been easier to get your thing out there, your message out there. Hey, I do this. It'll solve this problem for you. Here's how you get it, or whatever. Okay? So this is possible. The only challenge is now figuring out what to do. Now, if you have a talent, you have an ability, you have a capability, you have knowledge, you have the ability to provide a service of some kind, maybe you could tutor somebody. Maybe you could go do, I don't know. Like I'm in Canada, and if you have a house, you have a lawn with grass on it, you usually pay somebody to come and cut your lawn, or you do it yourself, right? Some people pay for it. Some people are, maybe they're older and it gets really hot in the summer and they want to do, you could just go into business right now doing that. You could start a construction business. I install drywall. Whatever skill you know how to do, you can start selling that immediately. If there's a demand for it, where you are, you can do that. The sky's the limit. I'm just listing a couple of really basic examples here, but there's like a whole universe of different things, right? Like, for example, think of all those people that start a YouTube channel. I'm doing a YouTube channel as kind of a secondary thing. There's a lot of people out there that just start a YouTube channel. How much money do you need for that? You just have to learn how to deliver something of value to people, right? That's an example. There's many different ways you can do this if you can offer something. So a lot of times you will have a skill, you will have knowledge, you will have abilities. It's just a matter of seeing if you could somehow connect with people that might need that. Right? Can you train someone on something? Can you help other students at school and maybe do a tutoring thing? Like this is what I'm talking about. Okay? With a little bit of thinking work, we can come up with something that will work, you can make money at, it's something you can offer, and it's possible to start up. So, this is what's interesting. Now, okay, maybe you won't make your first million doing that, depending on your idea, right? If you're just mowing lawns or tutoring students, it's not like you're going to build a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate empire or something, but you have a source of income coming in. It's maybe your secondary thing. Maybe you're in school. Maybe you're working at a day job, right? And you have this coming in. Maybe you add contract work to that. You do contract work or part-time work. On top of that, now you have flexibility, you have freedom. Because the chances of you losing both of those income streams in one day are very, very remote, right? So already there's a benefit there. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about. Somebody originally asked, what can I do to learn business? Okay. That was Balakrishna. So I would start this. I would try and do this. And you will learn so much by the process of just trying to do it. Okay? It'll at least give you an idea of what you need to know. And this process, some people just, it's like golf. Some people just get a hole in one. On their first attempt, they win the jackpot. Other people, it's an iterative process. That's much more common. You do one thing, maybe it doesn't work. You do another thing a month later, and maybe that doesn't work either. But the third thing, maybe a month after that, suddenly you start to make a little bit of money. You get a little bit of success. And as you go, you learn more and more, you get better at it. Okay? So that's what I would recommend. Okay? Now, if you need some knowledge, you don't have the knowledge to really know what to do, or you're faced with decisions. I could do this, or I could do that, or I could do this, or I don't know what I should do, right? Then, you start to realize, okay, I need to get answers for this. And it goes from there. So that would be my recommendation. It also depends on what type of person you are, okay? What type of personality you have. Some people are very extrovert. They love going out and talking to people and connecting with people and doing sales type things. Other people don't. I didn't come up through sales. I'm more of an introverted, technical, detail-oriented type person. That's why I think the internet is amazing, because now just by sitting at my desk and connecting to the internet, I can now connect with hundreds of thousands of people. I could get my message out there. You could go on social networking. You could join groups on Facebook. You can get on Twitter. You can get on LinkedIn. You can get on Instagram. You get all these different platforms. And that gives you access to lots and lots of people, lots and lots of potential customers. And if you come up with something that you can deliver remotely, like you don't have to physically be in the same city or something as your customer, then, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of possibilities. So my good buddy Bill says, as a salesperson, my package include base salary and commission, which is split 60-40 percentage. So far, I think it is reasonable for salespeople. Yeah. That's from what you're describing, that's typical compensation if you're in sales. Okay, you do have fixed pay, like a base pay. You do have a performance pay component, which is usually in the form of a commission, right? There's many different ways of doing that, right? But that's generally how it's done. And then, sometimes there's like a sort of indirect pay where they give you something other than cash. So you get benefits of some kind, or they'll give you perks, right? You get to use a company car or something like that. You might even get to take it home on the weekends and, do whatever, you go on family trips or something with it. So they're giving you a car instead of cash. But the fact that they're giving you access to a car means that you don't have to buy a car. So it is worth something. Judd is saying some very complimentary things. Thank you, Judd. It's nice to get that kind of positive feedback. Balakrishna, thanks. It means a lot to me, from a pharma student in India. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there I don't know too much about pharmacy. It's like, is there a way to consult? Is there a way, having that knowledge and having those abilities? What could you do with that? Okay, you could help other students study, right? Okay. You could maybe put up a website where you talk about something to do with pharmacy. And that website could be for many different types of people, right? You could do a blog or a YouTube channel that talks about pharmacy type stuff. You could talk about the experience of being a student learning pharmacy. You could talk about career possibilities in pharmacy. You could do some kind of informational thing, whether it's in the form of videos or articles where you interview people in the world of pharmacy. Some veteran pharmacists, you talk to people at the companies that employ pharmacists. You could talk to people at suppliers that supply pharmacists, talk about people that regulate the pharmacy industry and the government. You ask them for their opinion, you disseminate their opinion, almost like you in some kind of like news or information source. You could even turn it into public speaking about pharmacy. Maybe out there are students, there are people that are wanting to know, should I go into pharmacy? Maybe you could add some value to them, right? I mean, this is all just off the top of my head. Then it comes like to the point where, okay, you're going to use your skills. Instead of just talking about something, you're going to do something with it. Okay. Is pharmacy related to food science in any way? Could you talk to companies about, doing R&D into food science that can benefit from your knowledge in pharmacy? I mean, I don't know much about pharmacy, but it's like, you could, like, the sky's the limit when you think through all the possibilities you could do with that knowledge and that experience. So yeah, and it's a matter of exploring this stuff. And the more you sort of just put yourself out there, the more ideas and opportunities present themselves. Okay, so I know this is kind of a cliche, and a lot of people say this, but it's true. They say, just start. Don't wait till you're ready. Just start. You don't have to spend any money. I mean, all you're wasting is your time. You're potentially wasting your time, but that's it. That's all you've got to lose. And you have an advantage because I can guarantee you that most people in your situation, like students of pharmacy, they're pharma students in India, most of them are not doing this. So immediately you're distinguishing yourself from all of them. Now, look, at the end of the day, let's say it doesn't really go anywhere. You try a few things, maybe you learn a little, maybe, you talk to a few people, whatever. You do a few things, but ultimately it doesn't really pay off, like, directly. You don't make $1 million doing it. But at least you got something you can put on your resume. So when they ask you in a job interview right out of school, what work experience do you have? Instead of saying none, you say, well, I've done this. And I've talked to all these people, and I've been an information source from this, and I've advised people on that, and I've helped other students. Right? I mean, one way or another, it will come back to help you. If the alternative is just sitting around doing nothing, it's a no-brainer. And you can meet a lot of interesting people along the way if you're into that. You can learn a lot of interesting things if you're into that. Maybe you just end up learning about business. And that's the takeaway, which you then go and apply that to something else 5 years down the road and then make a success out of that, right? So one way or another, I mean, learning and investing in yourself and having these experiences does pay off. An obvious thing is that if you have skills in one area, okay, and about that area, you probably also have some opinions. You might look at the world and say, when it comes to pharma or something like that, I wish there was a thing like this, but I can't find that. I wish there was a thing that did this, but I can't find that. Everybody's doing this other thing and it's not very effective. I feel that even I could do a better job than some of these people. What they have doesn't really work for me. It doesn't really work for a lot of other people. So in the absence of that thing being there, I'm just going to go and do it. I'm going to create it. That's a great motivation to do something. It's a sort of like rebellious kind of, thing where you find fault with something you see in the world. This is a problem. And you think, I could do a better job than that. and you use that as your inspiration to go and do it. And if you know a little bit of marketing, you can get the message out that you're doing this. You know, chances are there are other people that feel the same way and they will check it out. You know, I love to do things and work with passion. Yeah. The great thing about, I mean, I'm sure everybody here, there's some older people, there's some younger people, there's some middle-aged people. It's like, the great thing about younger people is that, okay, they might not have a lot of experience. They might not quite have the maturity that you're going to have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later. But what you do have is you have energy and passion and conviction. It's hard to find someone who's 70 years old that's got a burning passion to change the world. You know what I'm saying? As you get older, you start to mellow out and lose that quite a bit. So when you're young, you know, that's what you do have. You have unbridled energy and passion. You have strong opinions. You find fault with things. You're not satisfied with things that you see, right? Being able to change things and do your own unique thing. It starts with that. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. That's how I started. And for some people, nothing fuels you and gives you conviction to do it more than somebody saying, it can't be done. Maybe your parents say to you, don't waste your time doing that. It'll never work, right? You know, or some university professor or something. I don't know. Right? So anyway, I mean, I'm not a motivational type speaker. I don't get into that whole like you can do it kind of thing. I care more about sort of the practicalities of things, but that's a great source for wanting to start stuff. So if you have any interest in this stuff whatsoever, even if you're just interested in having like another income source, right? That's the motivation. You know, I'm disappointed with the whole job search thing. It's demoralizing. It's discouraging. I got to deal with these people that I hate dealing with, and it's very pessimistic and very negative. You know, I'd like to do something positive that can make money, right? Maybe that's the motivation. That's a great motivation, you know? It's like, don't bet the farm. Don't take huge financial risk. You don't need to do that. But just maybe risk a little more of your time learning, trying things, and you know, great things happen. Maybe they don't happen immediately, but it does pay off. And down the line, it will pay off. Daredevil, how do you see trading as a business? Well, look, you can't, like, trading, I mean, what do you mean? Trading stocks, trading securities, that kind of thing, like financial trading, I assume is what you're talking about. You can do it, but I wouldn't encourage you to do it. Like I have a master's degree in finance, and I'm not interested in business models where you're just sort of like, it's based on scarcity. Like real estate, right? Real estate is this thing that most of the time its price just keeps going up, right? You bought a field, you have land, okay? You bought it for 100. You wait 5 years, you can sell it for 200, right? You haven't added value in any way. You haven't improved anything. You're just playing on like scarcity. It's become more valuable because it's gotten more scarce, right? You know, now people in real estate will tell you there's a little more to it. You've got to like buy the right types of land and then sell it to the right types of people, right? But I mean, basically, you're not adding value really directly. You're not creating anything. You're not improving anything. You're not helping anyone, right? So trading kind of falls under that banner, right? It's sort of like a frictional kind of thing. You can make money off it, but only because you're taking advantage of like macroeconomic things like scarcity, right? You're not adding any economic value. So you can do it. I mean, I'm not the person to talk to. There are some people that are like gurus that talk all about that, but I'm more interested in things that, where you actually add value. You solve a problem for somebody. You create something new. You create a new thing that's more efficient. Or you just offer a service that somebody wants because it helps them. Like the whole mowing a lawn thing, right? Bill says, oh yeah, okay, you're talking to each other. That's good that you're talking to each other. That's great. I agree. Is only good as a side hustle. But yeah, like maybe you can make it work. You see, the thing is, it's kind of the other kind of problem I have with recommending something like trading is that there's a lot of, how can I put this? There is no nice way to put it. Fake gurus. People that prey upon the ignorance of others. Like, it's like gambling. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of entities and organizations out there that encourage you to gamble. And they say, oh yeah, you'll be a winner. They point out what, the expected return, like the best case scenario. If you win, you could win the jackpot. Right? The reality is that it's either a zero-sum game or it's less than a zero-sum game. Most of the time, you will lose. Right? That's how gambling entities like casinos and things, that's how they make their money. Because most of the time, people lose. People, on average, lose more than they gain. And it's just a transfer of cash from the customers to the casino. And that's how the casinos get rich. There's no value added. It's just like sort of playing dice and making bets. The money is redistributed, but no wealth is created, right? Now, you contrast that with something like investing, okay? In theory, investing is you give your money to somebody, a scientist, I don't know, and the scientist invents something that turns rocks into food. Okay, it cost them $1 million. You gave them $1 million and they invented something that turns rocks into food. So you provide that service and you sell it. You solve the world's hunger problems. And you make billions upon billions of dollars in return. So for $1 million in, you made several billion coming out. Right? But that's based on creating value. You took a bunch of rocks that nobody would pay for because they're worthless, and you turned them into food, which many people would pay for. It would even save people's lives. Right? So you are creating something new and different and something that adds value, adds economic value. Okay. So those are the types of business models that I'm interested in. Something where like you provide something of value. You don't just sort of take something, hang on to it for a while and wait for the price to go up and then sell it. Right. A lot of times that's much more risky than people let on, than people give you the impression. It's very easy to paint best case scenarios. I know there's like a big, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. There's a big kind of thing in North America, in the United States anyway, called like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book many years ago. It's like just garbage. It really is, in my opinion, because it ignores all the fundamentals of finance. It's like, yes, you can turn around and you can borrow all this money, and then if the prices go up and then you buy the house and you flip it and you sell it, yes, you can make money. But what it doesn't tell you is that you're taking incredible amounts of risk to do that. That's just what it kind of just, because you don't understand those concepts. It's not a risk-adjusted return. It's just a return while you're taking incredible amounts of risk. Sort of like selling your house to buy magic beads and hoping that you can sell the magic beads for more than your house, right? Anyway. Okay, Min says, I'm planning to do a PhD in Collège du Paris, along with a job in order to get work experience and PhD at the same time. The professor guaranteed to offer me 70% scholarship. I need your suggestions. Wow. Listen, I'm not in that world. I don't have a PhD myself. I have a master's degree. I don't have a PhD. I mean, that sounds very good. Like what you're not saying is what your PhD is in, or it's going to be in. That would kind of be important. This was quality management, I think, right? This is what you said before. Quality management. A PhD in quality management. See, what I can tell you is that the general trend is that if you have a master's degree in business, the odds of you being hired at a private company go up. If you have a PhD in a business-related topic, the odds of you getting hired by a private company go down. We see a lot of people with master's degree working in the private sector. We don't see that many PhDs. Now, I'm not entirely sure all the reasons for that. I do know that organizations, when it comes to doing actual work, they don't really think of PhDs for that. They regard PhDs as overqualified. PhDs do research. They discover new things, right? That definitely has its place. But when it comes to in working in a private company, the whole part about doing the work, the general consensus is that you're overqualified. You don't need a PhD to be able to just do quality management. So if you really want a PhD, you want to discover new things. You want to absolutely master the topic. Maybe you want to consult on it. Maybe that's like if as a money-making thing, then it makes sense. Then if that's your personal goals, then it makes sense. Okay. But I can't really give suggestions. I would need to know more of like what your goals are and what type of person you are and the details of your plan before I can really say it's good or it's bad. It's not the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It seems quite solid, but it's solid if you've got a particular end goal in mind. And I'm not sure what, employment opportunities are for professors or PhDs in quality management in France or, the world over. Okay, but it sounds straightforward. If you're going to get a 70% scholarship, that sounds like a deal that might make a lot of sense. Wow. Am I saying this right? Giannis Bayless? Welcome to Crucial Achievement. Giannis Bayless just joined my channel as a member. Thank you, Giannis. I hope you will be happy with what you get. You get an extra video every week. And you get priority for me answering questions and things like this. And Giannis says, and if the answer is yes, how successful will it be? Now, what are you referring to? Are you referring to the PhD thing? Maybe if you could just clarify what question that was for, I'll be happy to see if I can give you an answer. But yes, let's see what's in the news. I'm going to try something, okay? I'm going to try something a little bit new for me. This is totally unimpressive in absolute terms, but okay, so I brought up my LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as the social networking platform that I'm into the most. And they had like news items, and I wanted to see if, people are interested in reacting to these. I think they give different news to different people. That's the problem with LinkedIn. So, but this is what I get. You got Elon Musk. Oh, that Elon Musk. I think he's made a career out of saying outrageous things that, are controversial and sometimes so stupid, but people can't believe it. So he was going to buy Twitter, and then the latest is that he's not, and Twitter's upset. I think he also, after talking really big about cryptocurrency for a long time, he's recently just sold all his cryptocurrency things, Bitcoin and all that. That's the other thing I heard. I don't know much about it. But he's playing the game of public perception when you're dealing with stock prices. You know how we were talking about, the source of profit. Is it based off of economic value added, or is it based off things like scarcity? Well, here's another game, which is what makes something more desirable. The stock price to go up. It's what people think of it. If people think about it favorably, it goes up. So this is where, you can go and you can make all kinds of public statements and get everyone all riled up thinking something is the next big thing. The price goes up. It's not based on anything. It's just based on a perception. But if you then sell a bunch of shares while the price is high, there you go. That's one way of doing it. Does that count as trading? You're not really trading. I mean, yes, it does. So you're manipulating the price and then trying to influence the price and then selling based on that. Now, if that's the way you're doing it, you can make money at it. I still would. It's not really for me. I don't like that kind of thing because it's based on just perceptions. But yes. So Gianna says, no, I wrote something and YouTube did not give it to me. Okay. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry about that. If you want to try again, that's great. If you want to send that to me directly, if you go to YouTube and it says like you can see the email address for business purposes. I don't respond to anything other than like a business request. But if you send me something as a last resort, if you send me an email, I will respond. Yes, membership has its privileges. Just created my LinkedIn. Any tips on how to improve it? Yeah. I talk about that extensively in my Get Hired course. And I do have some videos on my channel talking about like how to create a LinkedIn profile, like how to set it up so that it will be of good quality and it will help you. Okay. You can start to connect to people. You can send people messages. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to think, who is this person? And they'll check out your profile. And if there's a bunch of red flags, they probably won't respond. If it looks totally fine, then maybe they will respond. So I do have a video. I can't remember what the title is, but if you go to YouTube and in the search box, you type in the company's expert LinkedIn, those videos should pop up. And I know I've done one. It's like an hour-long video that goes through your LinkedIn profile, like each field, each item. And I talk about it. So that might be of some use to you. Yeah. VK says, wanted to let you know that I was binge watching your interview prep videos earlier this year, used the info during my interview, and was offered the job. Been at the company 2 months now. Thank you. Well, great job, VK. I remember your name, VK. I remember that came up. I don't know if you left a bunch of comments or something, but yeah, congratulations. You did that yourself, and you deserve all the credit. So, great job. Giannis, do you believe that if I contact hiring managers in LinkedIn and give them a letter of interest for a job? Yeah, you're still writing the question, but already that's something that I cover in depth in my Get Hired course. I also have free videos on it. Yes, like that's something I've advocated for a very long time on this YouTube channel, which is, first of all, the fact that 75% or more of people The way they get jobs is not by answering job ads. They get it through networking. How do you do that? Well, you contact hiring managers, decision makers in companies. If there's a company you'd like to work in, what can be very effective is for you, instead of going to their website, seeing if they're hiring, instead of that, you proactively contact a hiring manager at that organization and you say, look, here I am, here's what I do, here's what I can bring. I'm qualified in this, I'm a great worker, I solve this type of problems. If ever you're looking, please contact me because I know you guys do this and this and this, and that I know you do great work. I'd love to work there. Thank you, goodbye. Right? You put that out, that message out to the right people. And sooner or later, you send the message just coincidentally at the time when someone happens to be looking, bam. You jump to the front of the line for candidates for that job because you're not just another candidate, you're the one that contacted them. You're the one that was proactive enough to seek them out. That signals that, first of all, you're interested in working for them. It also signals that you're very professional. You've got better than average communication skills. It signals a bunch of positive things. And if they've interacted with you a couple of times and done a little bit of a back and forth just with messages, they know you. And so when they invite you in, they say, yeah, you should come in. We should get together. How is this date and time for you? Like that feels like a referral. They're bringing you in. They have a job opportunity and they'd like to recruit you, right? That's how it feels. So that's a much more promising, much more pleasant way of getting a job. And it usually results in good jobs because if you're contacting the hiring manager, that person ends up being your boss and they're impressed by you. So you're working for someone that likes you. That goes a long way. So yes, that is the way to get a job. Now, the problem is that that's not the default way when you're young. Nobody really tells you about this, certainly not right up front. And a lot of times when you hear it from me or other people, you think baloney, and then you think, well, how could I ever contact someone? I mean, who am I to talk to a hiring manager? They'd never talk to me. You think this, like all of that is false, by the way. And then you think, well, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I mean, how would I approach them? Right? Like all these questions immediately come in. They're all fake questions. They're all things that have very simple answers to, in terms of what to say and all this. Not to keep plugging my course, but I give all of that with scripts and all this in my course. So yes, I mean, that's definitely the thing. So it's not a matter of if I believe that if you contact hiring managers, will it work? It's like, no, it will work. I mean, assuming that you don't say silly things. You don't say like, hey, give me a job. Like that's probably not going to get you very far. Obviously, you have to phrase it professionally, politely. You have to talk to the right person. And so on, a few basics like that. But the reality is that, like, if they're hiring and you show up and say, look, I can do this, before you even post the job, consider talking to me, right? That's what you're looking for. And it's a numbers game because, as you can appreciate, most people won't be hiring when you just happen to contact them. Okay? Most organizations won't, but some will. Okay? So if you sort of send this out to many people, what you can guarantee is that you will, or it's certainly, it's more than possible. It's likely that you will be able to reach the people that are looking for somebody with your capabilities right at that time. So if you say the right thing and you present yourself professionally, you don't have, like, for example, someone was asking about what do I do for my LinkedIn profile, right? If they go to your LinkedIn profile and your picture shows a picture of you drunk, partying with all your buddies, not very professional picture, like that might be a deal breaker, right? So, I mean, you've got to have a few things in place. You got to have, don't say, you're a salesperson or something, or you've done sales. People might think, oh, you're just trying to sell me something. There's a few little caveats like that, but generally, yes, that's the way to get a job. And the other thing is that as you climb to higher level jobs, more and more of those jobs are not posted. They are filled through networking. You're welcome. How do you say that? Hoao? Is that how you say that? Barbosa? But you're welcome. Giannis. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. YouTube just does not send all my messages. Anyway, thank you. Greetings from Greece. From Greece? Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I have a lot of free videos on my channel that talk about precisely this. Okay, there is a playlist. What was it called? If you go to my YouTube page, like the page for my YouTube channel, it lists like a lot of the playlists, and one of them is like I think it's called like Getting a Job in the Hidden Job Market or something like that. It's like a series of videos. It takes you through some of that stuff. Okay, so check those out. But yeah. Anyway, something I want to say, I always have to say this because if I didn't say it, no one would know. So these live streams, I do them on Sunday and Wednesday. Okay, on Sunday, I'm trying to do more of the business stuff. On Wednesday, I'm trying to do more of the job search, job interview stuff. The live stream is left on my channel for a few hours. But then I am moving it over to my second YouTube channel, The Company's Expert 2. So if you weren't aware that I had a second YouTube channel, go to The Company's Expert 2 and subscribe. That's where all these live streams are going to end up. There's a whole bunch there already. This is where I've been archiving them. So yeah. If I don't say it, there's no way that's written anywhere. I don't know how to get that out, really. So people would know. I also want to do a shout out to my Patreon members and also the members of this YouTube channel. Like Giannis is the latest. So yeah, if you join up, you get priority for questions and things like that. You also get a free video from me every week. And who wouldn't want that? Members only video. Speaking of headlines, what else do we have here? Anything worth talking about? Google does a hiring freeze for 2 weeks. So I don't know if that's a indicator of things to come. I could be wrong, but I thought big tech is sometimes a leading indicator for the labor market. I could be wrong about that. That's just the impression I have. And, you guys probably haven't heard about this, but where I am in Canada, one of our largest telecommunications company had an outage that took down almost our entire country for like a day and a half, something like that. And that was Rogers. And so their CTO is stepping down. And somebody asked the question, what is a CIO and what do they do? And I was talking about the difference between a CIO, Chief Information Officer, and a Chief Technical Officer. So if I click on it, yeah, here we go. I have another one of these, actually. I'm sure nobody cares, but here we go. So you can actually see the article. Anyway, so the Chief Technical Officer steps down. Now, I just want to say something that's probably not covered in the article is that somebody who will take the blame for you, who will be the fall guy, that is valued in business. It's something that nobody really talks about, but yes, the CEO is not going to step down over it, right? And I'm sure that they were indirectly, at least indirectly responsible, but they're not going to take the blame, at least not in this case. So somebody had to take the blame. So the chief technical officer resigned. But that chief technical officer, what they don't tell you, probably scored a lot of brownie points with not only the CEO, but the board and a whole bunch of people all connected to this. So that's kind of part of it. I was going to talk about the news if people didn't have any questions, but people have questions. So to hell with this. Okay. I'm sorry. I have a problem. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it says, hi, dear master. I am a firefighter in Iran. Do you think I have a chance to find a job in foreign countries like Canada? I'm not an expert on sort of immigration visas and that, even in Canada. That's not something I've personally dealt with directly. But yes, I mean, I know that Canada does a lot of immigration. I'm not sure what how much hoops you have to jump through to do it. You might have to get sponsored. But yes, you can do it. I'm not sure what they look for. I'm not sure what they require, but that's definitely stuff you can find out. So go to, you could start, if it were me, I would start by going to the, doing a Google search for Canada immigration visa or job visa, something like that. And it'll probably take you to a government website where you can contact them. Maybe they'll give you a phone number or something you can call and say look, I'm interested in doing this. What would I have to do? And that should get the ball rolling, and whatever they recommend you to do, you look into. Min says, thank you very much for your suggestions on PhD topics. I'm just preparing for the future. I want to do all the best I can do. Listen, Min, if you're trying to plan out your career, I think you've been around for a few of my live streams, so you've probably heard this already, but just in case you haven't, we were talking about LinkedIn earlier, and you can use LinkedIn as an incredible tool to get some hard answers for career decisions like this, okay? You can discover, connect with, and talk to people that maybe have done this exact thing. They've got a PhD in quality management. And if you're wanting to know, was that a good move, or what doors does that open, and maybe what doors does that close, you can connect with these people, you can find them, and then you can talk to them. That's a very useful thing. Now, if you don't want to do that, maybe, some people don't always want to just reach out and talk to a stranger, even if that's something they should maybe do because it could help them. Even if they're kind of intimidated by that, you can still use it as a tool. If you do a search for PhDs in quality management, you do a people search, okay? You can use LinkedIn to do a people search for people with that qualification, say within France or whatever country, whatever region. And then you look at the people that pop up in the search, and you can go and look at their profiles, and you can see the types of jobs that they're in. Okay. Now, if they're all in jobs that you're shooting for, then that suggests that that's maybe the qualification to get. If none of them are in the job that you want to get with this PhD, then that tells you maybe that's not the best route to get to where you want to go. Right. So, I mean, you can use it as an incredible research tool to answer questions about what qualifications get you what type of job. What are they used for? Are they valued? Are they necessary? You can also get a rough idea of how many people are employed in that role in that region, right? So if there's 1,000 of them, that says something. If there's one, that says something else. So, this is the stuff you can find out just by using LinkedIn as that kind of tool. Now, I don't know, you might have to pay $30 for a paid version to do all this type of searching immediately. I'm not sure how it works. I just use the free version. I don't pay. I did used to pay for it. For a year, I paid for a premium LinkedIn account. It does more search and stuff like that. But quite frankly, I don't need that stuff. I've built up a big network for myself, and that's all I really need. So, but whatever, you pay a small amount of money for 1 month. There's even like the free trial. They'll give you a free trial of it for 1 month. So you sign up for that and then cancel it at the end of the month. But it's a great tool for stuff like that. So you don't have to be in the dark wondering, oh no, I don't know, and then guess. And then make a life-changing decision based on a guess because you have no data. You can get the data with things like LinkedIn. Between LinkedIn and Google Maps, you can do that. I have a video that might be able to help with that kind of thing. It's called How Successful People Get Jobs. And I sort of show you some of the things that you do in the search with the search that can show you how to do that sort of thing. So check that out. That's on my channel. That the video is like 2 months old, something like that. Somebody says it takes at least 5 years, I guess, to do the immigration thing. Yeah, it takes a while. It's not as bad as the United States. The United States, I get the impression you need to it's like a nearly 10-year process or something. In Canada, it's a lot shorter. I mean, it's not 6 months. It's a couple of years, but, yeah. So there you go. So it looks like we've come to the end of our questions. So if you have a question, please ask it. If I don't really get any more questions, then I guess that'll be it for today. If there's no questions. As I said, I didn't really prepare a big series of topics to talk about. I figured whenever I've done that in the past, everybody just bombards me with questions. And me talking about something else becomes more of a distraction and a negative thing than it takes me away from answering people's questions. So today I figured I'd just let the questions come in. Balakrishna says, how to overcome disappointments and overthinking about the past and future on both business and student life. Well, okay. Once again, I'm not some kind of psychologist or mental health expert, but just speaking from experience when I was a student many years ago, look, when you're a student and you're in that age, in your 20s, usually somewhere in there, it's a crazy time of your life. And, hormones are going and, worries about the future and, all the possibilities of your life are still open. You can go down many different paths. It can be intimidating. It can be tough. And also, in a way, you're taking your first steps into sort of the business world, like the job market and things like this. You're thinking about a career for really the first time in your life. It's starting to become real, right? So it can be crazy and it can be overwhelming. And if you're feeling intimidated by that kind of stuff, what I can tell you is, first of all, you're not alone. That's perfectly normal. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. I actually think that a student who is thinking about this stuff and is a little uneasy about it, that's better than a student who is in the world of education, who hasn't given a thought to the outside world beyond the world of education, and they're blissfully ignorant of the realities of, life, like having to earn an income and all this kind of stuff. So this is where it starts. It starts with questions. It starts with problems. And as you go down your life's journey, I don't know if you want to call it a career or just a series of jobs, your work life, it's starting from here. You will get answers and you will solve problems, right? As you learn as you go, right? But they're starting from this point. Okay? So, me telling you not to worry about it is not going to do anything. You can't help how you feel. Okay? But if you want to sort of feel like you're making progress, in my opinion, instead of sort of just worrying about it, go and try and do something. If your ambition is just to get a job, that's all you care about. You don't want to start your own company. You don't want to worry about that. You just want a job. Okay, that's your immediate goal. Then start talking to recruiters. Start interacting with companies. The stuff we were talking about in this live stream about using LinkedIn to connect to people, building up your profile, learning about the hiring process, learning about the different possible careers through the research thing I was talking about 5 minutes ago. That can make you feel like you're making progress. Okay. It's better than just being so intimidated by it that you don't do anything. You don't get answers to any questions, and you don't go out and solve some of the problems that you're worried about. Okay? The fact that you're here, that's a good start. You're at least wanting to learn, you're at least wanting to improve, right? That's a great start. Listen to me, listen to other people. Don't just listen to one source of information. Listen to a good cross-section of sources. That way, if they corroborate the same point, it's pretty much a safe bet. You lower the risk of, getting bad information. Okay? But go out and try stuff. The best source of information is things you have seen firsthand. Okay? You're not getting advice. You know it because you've done it. Okay? You've done job interviews, you've talked to companies, you've approached companies, you've applied for things, you've reached out to hiring managers. Okay? That's how you learn, by doing things. Okay? Advice is good, but at the end of the day, you have to do something. And that will teach you the best lessons. Okay? You'll learn how to make things happen for yourself. At the end of the day, nobody cares about you more than you. I know that sounds depressing, but no, this is a good thing. Okay? If you are capable of making things happen yourself, you will turn into a very capable person who can make things happen for yourself. It might take 10 years, okay? But 10 years is going to pass whether you are doing that or you're just sitting around doing nothing and worrying, okay? Usually it doesn't take 10 years for it to pay off, but even if it does, you will get there, okay? But you start by doing it. That's sort of my take on it. Min says, you've installed LinkedIn, you're doing research. Good, yes, that's great. Please take care, sir. The virus is still spreading in my country. Yes, it's... I suspect it's going to be with us for a long time. It mutates and things happen, and I don't think it's this thing that we're over it. We're not over it. But we will be over it at some point. The good thing about getting older, let me tell you this for the young people, if you have the patience to listen to me, I know this is boring, but just hear me out. The good thing about getting older is that you've seen quite a few problems, crises, disasters. And at the time, it feels like the end of the world. But then you see it end. It just, we get beyond it. It ends. Even if people thought it was the absolute end of the world when it happened, you see how everything goes back to normal. I'm not saying this in a negative way, like, don't bother doing anything because everything returns to normal. I don't mean that. I mean that, it's really not the end of the world like it seems like at the time. Now, I know I'm not trivializing some people that have lost a lot in the pandemic, in other things. I'm certainly not trivializing that. But I'm just saying this sort of doom and gloom. There's a lot of doomsayers that say, like, this is the end of everything, and, it's going to be the end. Everything's going to be bad from here on out. It might be bad for a little while, but then it goes back, So I mean, it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing. We can overcome things. Yes. So there you go. That's kind of the end of the questions. I want to reiterate. I mean, you guys know I have courses. I don't like to always plug them. I feel I have to mention them. But I mentioned a couple of times, but what I was referring to was this. If you're interested, there's a link in the description. You can follow that, check it out. I also have this. I've mentioned it, I think, on every live stream. So once again, link in the description. And this is if you want to learn business, but you don't want to go and get an MBA degree like in a university. It takes 2 years, or at least takes one really intensive year. And it can cost 4 figures, 5 figures, US dollars. You want to learn business, but you can't really do that. This is something I've created for people like that. A lot of entrepreneurs I also had in mind when I did this, because if you want to learn the content, but you don't necessarily need the piece of paper, the accredited, certified degree that goes on your resume. Okay, so this is unaccredited. But then again, it's like less than 1% of the cost. And you do it on your own terms. There's no tests, no deadlines, no assignments, no exams, right? That's the reason why it's accredited. It'll never be accredited because I can't verify that you've learned anything. You read the books, you read the material, you watch my videos, and you go as deep as you want. If you just want to sort of stick your toe in the water and learn a little bit, kind of the gist of what it's all about, but you don't really care about going in depth, you can do that. If you really want to go in depth, you can. You're reading the same source material, the same textbooks that are used in places like Harvard for their MBAs. Okay, so I give you a reading list and also some links to get it for cheap. You can get these textbooks cheap off like Amazon. A couple of editions old, they're like $5, $10. And that's one way of learning business. It's not like following a fake guru. Okay, you're not learning from someone like me. You're not learning from anyone else. You're learning from the source material that is taught in universities. These are textbooks, and you can verify them all you want. They're used in a lot of universities. These are, in some cases, like especially the marketing textbook, it's like the Bible, the marketing Bible, that's used in a lot of universities around the world by one of the most the most celebrated, recognized PhDs in marketing. They wrote the book on it, literally. So, I mean, it's things like that. That's what you're reading. And I have a few videos. I kind of guide you through it. But you do the work. You do the learning. So if that's of any use to you, there's the link in the description, the $100 MBA. And there we go. And now we have a couple more questions. So you're still young, sir. You can do amazing things, honestly. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not as young as you think, but that's a compliment. But that's a nice compliment you gave me. Farmer, is that Texas 98? Any advice for questions I should be asking when contacting a recruiter to assist with my job search? No, because you should not be contacting a recruiter to assist with your job search. You should be talking to hiring managers. There's a big difference. Okay, you're not going to be talking to recruiters. It will be practically pointless talking to a recruiter, because a recruiter will simply refer you back to the standard channels. They want you to go in at the bottom. Like, look, there's a hierarchy, right, in an organization. Right at the top, there's like the CEO, the executive management committee or team. You got the middle managers here, right? And you got the workers down here. And they want you to go in right here where you send in your application, your resume, and it's not even read by a human. It gets read by applicant tracking software, and they can reject you right there without a human ever having seen your application, right? That's what they want you to do. They want you to come in at the bottom and try and go up, right? Now, for entry-level jobs and stuff like that, yes, you can get a job that way. I've gotten a lot of jobs that way in my early career. I mean, that's what most, not most people, but a lot of people do, especially young people coming out of school, right? What they don't tell you is that that's not the best way to get a job. What they don't tell you is that most people don't get a job that way, okay? And the higher level jobs you get, the less you go in that. How many CEOs get hired by responding to a job ad? Ooh, looking for CEO. And you call up and you say, hi, I'm a CEO. And then you go to a job interview and they say, so tell me about yourself. And you say, well, I'm a CEO. And they go, oh, okay, great. We need one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That never happens, right? That's not how they hire CEOs. Yeah, exactly. Talmuz, I recognize you too. You guys are my regulars, I guess. Talmuz 88. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Well, I see myself as a CEO and, taking your company into the stratosphere. And they say, oh, good answer. And you're hired. Yeah, it doesn't work like that, right? So don't contact recruiters. Recruiters are paid to come up with candidates who meet a certain requirements. They're given a list of requirements by a hiring manager. And the recruiter's job, it's actually a lot of times it's a very low-level job, is go out and find me some candidates that have these 10 things, okay? I've decided that we need to hire someone and they should have these 10 things. So you go find me a bunch of people that have those 10 things that are looking for a job. Right? That's what the recruiter is paid to do. They don't themselves have any of those 10 things. They themselves don't know anything about the job that they're trying to fill. What they are skilled in, at least theoretically, is finding candidates that have those things. Finding candidates, that's their job. Right? So when I say hiring managers, and this is the part that, I'm going to lose a lot of people when I say this. I always do, but I don't care because this is true. When I say hiring manager, who is a hiring manager? A hiring manager is any person in an organization that has the power to hire someone. Usually that starts with middle managers, right? The head of a department, their head of marketing, head of IT, head of operations, whatever, head of logistics, supply chain. They say, we need another employee. We have too much work. I've decided that we need to hire another person in this job, right? That's their decision. They have the authority to do that, right? So they made the decision. Okay, we need to hire another truck driver. We need to hire another salesperson. We need to hire another, customer service rep, whatever, right? But that person that has the authority to do that, they're a hiring manager. Okay? So in an organization, who would be a hiring manager? Anyone with usually the title manager, okay? They're in charge of people and they are given authority to recruit, to hire and fire people, right? So they have profit and loss responsibility for their area. That means they are responsible for a budget. They're given money to run a department of some kind. In a private company, they're usually also given, like a profit center responsibility. They're also tasked with making money in their department sometimes, right? So they have to work to a budget and they have to accomplish certain goals. And if they don't do that, they are let go, right? But they have discretion to buy capital equipment, buy supplies, make changes to how the company operates, and hire people, right? So they'll be managers, right? Usually at the mid-level or up to and including the CEO. So yes, you should contact the CEO. Now, when I say this, people, a lot of young people, they kind of balk at that and they go, well, that's ridiculous. I can't contact the CEO. Hello, I was a CEO, okay? I mean, it's not very glamorous. The vast majorities of companies out there, they're small, Okay. They're like 50 people or less. Okay. I don't care what country you are in the world. That's what we see the entire world over. Most people that have jobs work in small companies. It's only a handful of big companies that are out there with their large organization culture. Everyone else works in small companies. Now, if you don't believe me, don't take my word on this. Go and do your own research. This is what you will find. Go and look at the economic statistics for your country or your region, which is usually publicized by the government in every country. You can easily verify this, okay? So a lot of companies are small. So you're talking about, when you say the CEO or the owner, you're talking about somebody that supervises directly or indirectly maybe 50 people, okay? So it's not really that intimidating, okay? You get sort of mid-sized companies, maybe 500 employees, 500 to maybe 2,000, and then you get the big companies, right, that are corporate enterprise. I'm going to adjust my brightness here. I almost look like an angel. It's so bright here. Let's see if I can. There we go. Yeah, so those are the people you contact. I mean, you're not pestering them. You're connecting with them on things like LinkedIn. After doing searches to find these people, they're in your region, they're in your industry. Okay. You do searches to connect with all those people, and then you connect with them. And this is a numbers game. A lot of people won't connect with you, but some will. Like when I used to do this, I'd get something like 30% success rate. So if I send out a request to 100 people, which I can easily do in like half an hour or something, or certainly in 1 hour, 30 people connect with you. 30 CEOs connect with you. This is CEOs, by the way. So I got 30 new CEO connections. And then of those people, if you're looking for a job, for example, or you're looking to have an informational interview with them, you send a message to those 30 people that connected with you and say, hey, I'd very much like to get your opinion on this. Would you be able to spare me some time? We could talk, maybe grab a coffee. And once again, it was something like 20 or 30% success rate. So of those 30 people, 20 to 30% of them would say, sure, yeah, let's talk. Do you have time right here? If you do, then sure, come on down. Let's go to a Starbucks or let's go to a coffee shop, whatever, right? So it's a numbers game. I mean, if you start with enough connections, you get lots or enough sort of people that you contact, then it sort of funnels down to people that connect with you. They respond. And then that funnels down to people that have the meetings with you, if that's what you're wanting. Or you don't want meetings. You just say like, look, I'm looking for a job. I can do this. And I'd be a great employee. Hire me if ever you're looking. And, so all the people that connect, it goes down to like maybe 10% of them say, yes. We are looking for somebody that may be what you have. Come on down. Let's talk. Right. So it's a numbers game. It's just percentages. It's that funnel, right? I mean, you can use this for anything. I use that to build a consulting business. You can use it to get a job. I've taught students how to do this to get a job. Some of them have gotten jobs with this. Some of them have gotten selfies with the CEO. You don't have to talk to the CEO necessarily. I mean, you can talk to any of the executives, right? Or you could talk, but you should go to executives, not middle managers. Middle managers generally are too busy to do this stuff. And it's not in their job description to entertain random queries from the public, right? Executives, however, it's part of their job to answer queries from the public. This is part of their job to respond to people that reach out to them. Some people that reach out to them, you could be a potential industrial customer. You could be a supplier or a vendor reaching out to do a deal to examine the possibility of maybe doing a big business deal with them. You could be the government, just have some questions about what your business is doing because maybe there's some regulation stuff, maybe there's something else going on. I mean, if you're an executive and you basically tell these people to get stuffed, that's bad, okay? You could say that to the wrong person and that would be very bad, right? So when they don't know, a lot of times their gut instinct is to say, sure, yeah, it sounds legitimate enough. Yeah. If you have some questions, sure, I can spare half an hour and answer some questions. That's part of my job. I had to do this. Everyone has to do it. It's not something that, they have to explain to you. It's just part of being in business. Yeah, Tammuz, as I said, I recognize I'm your big-time regular and your big-time fan. I'm from Poland, but living in Budapest, Hungary. If you're around, I would love so much to meet. Wishing you all the best and thank you for everything. It's not often I get down to Budapest, but yes. If we are ever if you are ever in Winnipeg, Canada, let me know. And that's very nice of you to say. I'm flattered that you're getting this much value out of my stuff. Farmer, so you would not recommend contacting a Robert Half agency for accounting positions? First time in 23 years I'm looking for a job. Never used a recruiter, but everyone is telling me to contact one. Listen, it depends. Okay, they have their uses. Now, if you're a certified accountant and you have all the experience that they are looking for, then yes. Okay? The thing is, if you don't have the experience, the type of experience they're looking for, then it may not be advantageous. I mean, I would never say turn down an opportunity. All I'm saying is that, for example, if you were changing careers, you spent 23 years in accounting, but maybe you want to head more towards something else. Working in, not accounting, but maybe in finance, working in, tax law, something like that, right? It's a little bit of a career change. It's still related, but it's a little bit of a career change. The first question a recruiter is going to have to assess your value is, how many years of experience do you have in tax law? And if you say, well, 0, because I've been an accountant for 23 years and I'm trying to get into tax law, they'll say, well, I'm sorry, you're not qualified. We're looking for someone that has experience. This job requires experience. You don't have it. You're not qualified. How could you possibly know what you were doing? So we're going with somebody else. That's how recruiters think. They don't understand these positions intrinsically. So as a way to try and separate someone who's qualified versus someone who's less qualified, they look at metrics like years of experience. So if you are going for the exact same job that you have a lot of experience in, and there's no sort of, mismatch, then yeah, that could work. That could be the right way to do it. Okay. I don't know too much about Robert Half. I know that they're an international HR firm. They specialize in doing recruitment and selection for accounting and financial positions, among other things, I think. I don't know too much about them. But look, if you're just starting the job search, it doesn't hurt to try. But there are many other ways of getting a job, and some of them are more promising. So that's all I'm saying. It depends on your situation, and it depends on what you're going for. Okay. Melkoyan? Hello, sir. Tomorrow, again, super important interview. Previous one didn't happen. Wish me luck, please. Yeah, good luck. It's like I say, it's a numbers game. Job interviewing, the same thing. It's a numbers game. It really isn't too much of a reflection on you. It's more of a reflection on the organization than it is on you. Okay? You have the same skills. You have the same experience. You interview one place, they think, there's no contest. You would be a bad candidate. You go somewhere else, You do an interview and they think, wow, you're amazing, you're hired, right? I mean, you didn't change. It's the organization. It just depends what they happen to be looking for. And a lot of times they're looking for the stupidest things. They either hire you or they don't hire you based on ridiculous things. That's one of the reasons why they don't disclose, if you, like, why you didn't get the job or why you got the job. Because if you found out what they were, basing their decision on, well, we didn't hire you because you showed up wearing a red shirt. Now you're supposed to be an accountant. Accountants should know you don't wear a red shirt. So no dice. It's like, that's ridiculous. You could be the most brilliant accountant ever. But they'll base their decisions on stupid crap like that. I mean, I've heard some absolutely ludicrous things in my time. I've seen some ludicrous things. And usually these are made by people that are so ill-equipped to make a decision on whether somebody would be good in a job. It's ridiculous. Hello, sir. Tomorrow again. Okay. Christine, I recognize you too. You guys are totally my regulars. Good morning, Bill. Yes, morning, Christine. It's good to see you here. You're welcome, Farmer. I hope that was helpful. Listen, you do your own research, okay? Like, there's no substitute for investigating this stuff yourself, okay? I can sort of give you general ideas, but if you do want to go deeper with my stuff, check out some of the YouTube videos I've got about this stuff. But, if this is your first time looking for a job in 23 years, yeah, it's a skill like any other. It's really not the end of the world. If you're an accountant with experience looking for an accounting job, especially in the same industry, you'll be fine, okay? There's really not that many hoops to jump through. Just pursue many opportunities. Don't just look for one job at a time. Just put a bunch of leads out there and pursue every bite that you get. Okay. What has changed in the last 23 years is that you have to apply for more things and you have to go to more interviews to get, to be hired, to get the opportunity. So don't just do 5 or 6 job opportunities, do a whole bunch. Hello from Romania. Hello, Romania. Yeah, so Romania is Bucharest, right? Capital Bucharest. As I think I said last time, my first career job, I had to work with someone from Romania. And so he taught me a little bit of Romanian. Awesome. Super chat from Farmer Texas 98. Thanks again for all your videos and advice. I watch your videos and was happy to catch this live stream. Thank you for being here. You asked some awesome questions, very intelligent, and gave me something to talk about, which I was starting to run out of. So thank you. And it's a pleasure. And I agree with you too. Oh, here we go. Lion. There's another person I recognize. You guys are showing up for all these. Lion. It's good to see you. I've been struggling to find a job as a manager/director after a period of long inactivity. Sometimes I wonder if I should apply for a job below my position. How much can it damage my career history? I don't have an answer for that. I don't know how much it would damage your career history. What I think is more likely is that it would be harder to apply for a job below your position because they would feel that you're overqualified. And this is the catch-22. You get more experience, you get, higher level job experience. It's hard to go down because now you're up against this whole, you're overqualified thing. It's all based on assumptions. They're assuming that if they hire you, you will find the job beneath you. You will not stay for very long. You'll get another job as soon as you possibly can to get the hell out of there and get back to your old position, where you were higher up. That's what you really want to do. That's what you're capable of. So they're making these assumptions about you. A lot of times they're incorrect. Okay, sometimes they're true. Like that's why people make these assumptions, because they're playing on, statistics, right? I'm not going to say they're totally stupid, because there is a statistical basis behind these things. But I mean, when you're talking about individuals here, that's not necessarily true. So once again, this, like a lot of things I recommend, is go around the recruiter, go to a hiring manager, get them, impress them, not with your resume, but with your initiative. And if you have a conversation with them, they see that you know your stuff, and they realize that you would be a hell of an asset to have on their side. And that's the basis on which they would hire you. Okay? I mean, if you're a middle manager, that's kind of the limit to me of like talking to a recruiter. A lot of people, they talk to executive recruiters, and the problem is that every HR company says they are executive recruiters when 95% of them aren't. They like to say it. There's actually very few true executive recruiters. They would be certainly worth dealing with, right? They at least know how to assess somebody properly, and they don't make a lot of stupid assumptions. They're a bit better, but they're still recruiters. So do networking, okay? If you don't know where to start, I have my course. I've got free videos. But that's the path I would take. Oh, yes, I know how this sounds. There's a total conflict in me recommending this, but I mean, honestly, that's the alternative, okay? You don't have to get my course. Just do networking, okay? Get a job through networking. Contact people in your industry, the higher-ups, the decision makers. Just put out feelers. You can either go for informational interviews, or you could just apply for a job directly saying, look, here I am. I've got these skills. I'm looking for a job. I know you guys do great work. If ever you're looking for someone who can solve this problem, just let me know. Just consider me. Thank you. Just put that out, okay? In your hometown. In my hometown, where I'm doing the stream from in Winnipeg, Canada, the population of this city is something like 700,000, okay? In this city, you can contact thousands of executives, thousands of directors, vice presidents, CEOs, owners, board members, this kind of thing. Thousands of them, okay? Thousands. In every industry, you will probably have hundreds, okay? And certainly industries of any size, there'll be hundreds in a small city like this of 700,000, okay? That's a lot of leads, okay? And that's just if you're looking in your hometown. If you expand your search to like a geographic radius of, 1,000 kilometers or something, or within your own country or something like that, that's many, many, many more, okay? So there's a lot of opportunities there. Somebody is looking for somebody like you as we speak. In most cases, that'll be in your hometown. If not, it'll be in your general region. Right now, they're looking for someone like you, and they can't find that person. Okay, it's just a matter of connecting with that person, saying, hello, I'm here. If you're interested, let me know. Right? So that's the good news. The bad news is that, to do this, you have to learn a few things. It's really not rocket science, but you got to know a little bit. How to talk to people, how to pitch yourself, basic stuff like that. It's really not hard. I need some Pepsi. Diet Pepsi. Could you spare a small Pepsi-Cola? For I am a Pepsi-Cola man myself. Hi, Bill. Just passing by to share some love. I currently live in Hungary and I'm now joining the fourth company, this time for a full-time position. You helped me a lot for the interview process. Cheers. Great. That's Alvaro. Congratulations, Alvaro. It sounds like things are going well. You did that yourself. You did a fantastic job. It obviously impressed people. So way to go. You should be quite proud. Shiva says, hello from India. Yes, hello, Shiva. It's great to see you here. Here we go. Bill, are you a cover letter guy? I have a family member who recruited travel nurses and said they don't even look at them. What's your take on sending cover letters? Well, listen, the thing is, everything happens some of the time, right? So I don't want to say like people never look at them, because some people do. But my opinion is that in most instances, they don't. Okay? Most of the time, they don't. And so people have asked me about the cover letters before. I think on the last couple of live streams, people were asking about cover letters. And I was basically saying that a lot of times the cover letter takes the form of the email, like the body of the email to which you attach your resume and your job application and all that. And basically all it does is it says like, here's why I'm sending the email. I'm applying for this position. And attached, you will find my resume and my application. And should you need anything else, please don't hesitate to ask, to reach out to me. Here's my contact information. This is my name. Thank you very much. That's basically the essentials of the cover letter, right? Now, sometimes they ask you to write a really fancy cover letter. If you're applying for an executive position, that's more of a common thing and they actually read it. But a lot of times the cover letter just basically says a lot of the same thing that's on your resume. And if you're going to add more than the basics that I just mentioned, you would say, like, look, here's why you should read my resume and my application, because I applied for this job because it seems like you're looking for someone with this. I have all of those. Okay, so, that maybe gives them a reason to go further and consider you. Okay? For an executive type job, yes, definitely. I would say that in the cover letter. Because, you get all kinds of people applying for executive jobs. People that are totally out to lunch, people that are totally not qualified. So they have to filter people out. So you say, like, look, you're looking for this. I actually have all of these. I have this. I have 5 years of that. I have 10 years of this. I have this accomplishment, that accomplishment. So, it helps to put that in the cover letter. That's the purpose it serves, right? What you can even do is you can sort of do a variation on it. You can not send an application. Instead, you send an email saying, I have this. I'm interested in this job. Doesn't make sense for me to apply for it. And then a lot of times, if you're dealing with an executive recruiter, they may say, yes, certainly, yes, send in your application. And then you send in your application, your cover letter, and it says it's a response to them saying, sure, no problem. Please find attached my application as requested or something, and that carries a lot more weight. It feels more like a referral now. It's not cold out of the blue. You're doing it on request. So, you can do that kind of stuff. For executive stuff and for higher level stuff or professionals, you can do that kind of thing. And all of that is counting towards them giving you an interview. They're giving you an interview because they've had a sample of your communication. They already can see that you're professional, that you're serious, that you're pleasant to deal with. So that counts in your favor when they're looking to shortlist people to bring in for an interview. Obviously, your qualifications and things matter more, but that's certainly a factor, right? They have to make a tiebreaker between all these people are qualified, who are we going to bring in for the interview? Oh, let's bring in the person we already talked to that applied at our request. That would be the logical person to bring in. I guess we're going back into the whole job interviewing thing. I try and save those for the other live stream on Wednesdays. But Caesar, yes, you are not alone. Most people hate interviewing. You know why? Because it's stupid and it sucks. And it's a terrible way of spotting talent. It really is. We've established this. We talked about this the last live stream I did. It's we also touched on the fact that, you know, it's well known. I mean, there's data that supports this. There's a lot of data that supports the fact that it's also very ineffective. That's why for more important jobs, higher level jobs, they do networking instead of hiring a stranger that you barely know. Okay. Gianna says, hi again. What is your opinion regarding Six Sigma? Is it really useful? And does it really matter in jobs in Europe? Where's my finger here? So you see that right there on the wall? That's Master Black Belt in Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma. Yeah, it is useful. But it's a tool for solving a specific problem. It's not the sort of be-all, end-all that some companies think it is. Same with Lean, same or ISO. It's a tool to solve a specific problem. It's not this thing you can use to fix everything. That's what a lot of people seem to think. Companies tend to be very proud of it, you know, that they use Six Sigma. So they tend to overuse it. They tend to apply it to everything. Every problem you have, let's apply Six Sigma to it. It's like, no, it's for a very specific type of problem. Okay, namely, you're dealing with quality, like in sort of mass production. You know, you have lots of samples, lots of parts or lots of products, lots of units, you know, on huge numbers, right? That's what it's for. And it's a very math-based approach. Okay? So, yes. It is useful. Does it really matter for jobs in Europe? I'm not sure. I mean, yes, some people will be looking for it. I'm not sure how many or what the percentage is, but yes, it is useful. The thing is, at least in North America, I don't know about Europe, but in North America, there is no accreditation body for things like Six Sigma. So the way that they assess your Six Sigma skills is they expect you to put your accomplishments on your resume, like what projects you've worked on. And they use that to sort of assess how much you know and how skilled you are in it. Okay, and then they'll ask you technical questions a lot of times during an interview. So if you can't answer the questions, then they know that it's not really on the tip of your mind. And all of that is a substitute for an actual accreditation. Right? If you're an accountant or you're a medical doctor or a lawyer, you have a certified license to do that type of work, right? So once you have that license, people don't question it, right? But things like Six Sigma, there is no license. So it's like, you say you know Six Sigma, how much do you really know? That's the problem that employers have. So if you've worked in a reputable large organization in a Six Sigma role, you know, say you've worked for General Electric or something, you know, Airbus, you know, something like that, and you've had a job to do with quality and you have Six Sigma, that will be very well regarded. But if they don't recognize any of your work experience in Six Sigma on your resume, then they're kind of, you know, they don't know precisely how skilled you are. So that's the problem with it. I think that you have to have an organization of, say, approximately 2,000 employees for Six Sigma to really be useful, for it to be the right tool. For smaller organizations, Six Sigma, in my opinion, doesn't really work. It's too cumbersome, too bulky. You know, things like Lean and stuff like that are maybe a bit more appropriate. or ISO 9000, that would be appropriate too, depending, in smaller organizations. Okay, I sort of skipped a few here. See, Giannis is a member, so membership has its privileges. I moved to a small town, many applicants and few opportunities. Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, this is where we're almost coming full circle here, and I have to wrap this up soon, but we started this stream talking about entrepreneurship. We talked about, creating opportunities for yourself. That's where some of those skills can apply. If you're looking to be an employee and that's the only option you have, here's an example where maybe some of those entrepreneurship type skills can be an advantage. Thank you, Shiva. That's very nice of you. Alexandro says, hello from Greece. I am at the stage of the third interview and they asked me to prepare and present a 10-minute self-presentation. Can you give me some tips? Your advice has worked great so far. Look, here's what I would say. Let's see if I can find it. No, I can't do that in a hurry. I have a video on my channel. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically the things that I would run back when I was teaching university. One of the things I was teaching in the business program was how to do public speaking, and things like this. And I made all the students do public speaking in front of the class, like public speak. Perfect time to stutter. Public speaking like a pro. And I have a video that basically shows you the grading scheme and what I required of them. So to score very highly, I basically go through what you would have had to do. Okay. So you can take a look at that. Sorry, I don't remember what the video is, but something to do with public speaking, something to do with students. Just do a search for the company's expert, public speaking, or the company's expert, students, and it should come up. Okay. But yes, these are public speaking skills. That's part of this whole thing. When you're young, you have some good technical skills. If you can tack on all these soft skills, okay, including public speaking skills. For some people, that's a real challenge. I just want you to know that it's all in your mind, okay? You are not as awkward as you feel. You are not doing as bad a job as you think, okay? People are not focusing on all the negative points that you think they are. Okay, so that's the good news. Now, practice makes perfect, okay? If you're wanting to know how to get good at it, practice. And then you will be a pro. You will feel at ease getting up in front of a crowd of people and talking. And you will always have something to say. I honestly feel a little bit of that every time I do these live streams because I basically commit to talking for 2 hours and I have nothing prepared. It's great when people have questions, but I've had to fill time like that and come up with lessons and lectures and things like this. But yeah, I'm an introvert. I'm not a naturally extroverted type person. These are skills I've had to tack on that you learn like any other skill. Anyone can do it. So hopefully that helps. That's a starting point anyway. And I wish you the best of luck. Chaos says, how do you start a business by investing in a franchise? Do you need to submit a resume or CV to the franchise? Well, look, you contact the franchise, the franchisor, and you ask them what's required. A lot of times you will have to put down quite a huge chunk of cash, okay, especially if it's a popular franchise. And there's going to be all kinds of things they want to see, right? Basically, a franchise is a business where you don't do any of the thinking work. You do the doing work, right? The thinking work has already been done by somebody else. They tell you what to do. You then have to do it. So in order for them to give the franchise to you, in addition to putting down the money, you then have to convince them that, you are going to, you are capable enough to follow instructions. You are not going to violate their rules and their requirements, that kind of thing. So you do this by contacting the franchisor and then discuss, right? There used to be print media publications, like Franchise Magazine was a thing, and you can go and it has all the classifieds in it. Like, if you want to open a McDonald's or a Starbucks or, like any franchise you can imagine, they're all in there with their contact information. And, you just sort of go down them and, and start contacting people and see what they require, I mean, I just want to say that I'm not a huge proponent of franchises. I'm not. Because the flip side of this is that you do all the work. They keep a huge chunk of the profit, right? Now, there's some advantages in a franchise. You start with a winning formula, something that's been proven to work. There's no guarantee that it will work for you, but it's a more secure bet than doing something totally untried. But then again, if you succeed, they take a huge chunk of the money. So it's something you want to investigate before you just jump into it. Okay. Not a problem, Farmer. That's what I'm here for. And it's my pleasure. And as I said, I'm glad you guys are you're here, you're staying. So that's awesome. Hi again. What is your opinion regarding, okay, I already did that one. Thank you for your time. Not a problem, Lion. And thank you for coming back. What time of day are your Wednesday and live streams typically? Okay, here you've got me because it's international time. I'm doing them, I have been doing them at 9 a.m. Central Time, North America. So I don't know if Texas is in Central Time. I think you guys might be, at least partially. I start at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays and on Sundays. Maybe that'll change, but at least for the moment, that's what I've been doing. I'm not sure what that is in like GMT, like international time. I don't want to even guess. I thought I don't want to guess because I'm sure I'll get it wrong. But I post the live stream a day or so ahead, so it says like it's in 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, so hopefully that helps. What advice would you give someone wanting to purchase a franchise, first-time business owner? What advice? I thought I just sort of said that. Oh, this is slightly different. Understand what you're getting into. That's what I would say. Okay, go and talk to other franchise owners. Okay, get their lowdown. Ask them for tips. Ask them what were the problems they encountered. Ask them, what did they learn the hard way? Ask them what they would do differently. Okay, talk to a lot of them. Don't just talk to the franchisor, the person trying to sell you. Okay. Go and get the lowdown. Do your own research. Talk to the people that have done it. Okay, that's what lawyers do best. Think on their feet, especially trial lawyers. Okay, yeah, I would imagine. I am not a lawyer. I am not a trial lawyer, and thinking on my feet has never been my strong point. My strong point traditionally has always been getting my ducks in a row, being prepared more than anyone else, more than the adversary, more than your negotiation opponent, anything like that, and having the data. That's how being a detail-oriented person can pay off, because you might not be, the best person to debate with somebody, but you can get them with preparation. You have all the data to challenge everything they say. You have done your homework. You're fully prepared. Nobody can pull the wool over your eyes. That's how you can win if you're that type of person. And that's what I was and what I am. So yeah, I'm a little intimidated by trial lawyers, people that can do that. I am in awe of their ability, not only to have the command of language that they do, but to be able to construct very sophisticated arguments in a very hostile situation where you're feeling awkward and nervous and all eyes are on you, and they can do that, that's impressive. Only problem is being able to argue for whoever pays you. That's something I'm not that great at. And consequently why I had a problem with being a CEO. Because you have to do that. Thank you very much. Could you give me some advice on what I should include in a self-presentation? It would look like my resume. Yeah, like all of that. Like, look, the first thing you need to do, and I have to wrap this up in a few minutes, but you have to understand how to brand yourself. Like, look, if you're going to introduce yourself, what do you say you are? Okay? You could introduce yourself and say, hello, I'm Alexandros, I'm a lawyer. Or you could say, hello, I'm Alexandros, I'm a student. Or you could say, hello, I'm Alexandros, I've spent 10 years doing this. You know, I mean, it's how you're branding yourself. Who are you to them? Right? And that's probably going to change depending on the situation. So if you're up for a job as, I don't know, a lawyer, right? Or maybe that's not a great example. Say you're trying to get a middle management position, you know, in a trucking company, right? So you would say, hello, I'm Alexandros. I'm a fully qualified middle manager, right? You know, like that's an aspect of yourself. I have an engineering degree. I could say I'm Bill Todd. I have an engineering degree. Or I could say I'm Bill Todd. I have Six Sigma. I'm a Six Sigma master black belt. So who you are to them is going to vary. Now, what's the most appropriate way for you to present yourself in a very compact way? Right? You have to answer that question. What are these people? What's your audience going to respond to the best? Okay? It's your pitch. Okay? If you had one or two sentences to say who you are, or you had 10 words to say who you are, what would you say? That's very important to get right. Okay? Like, for example, on your LinkedIn profile, if you've got a LinkedIn profile, you've got your name, you've got a picture, and then you have that tagline, right? Like that thing under your name. That's who you are. Right? What would that say for you? That can be complicated if you're changing careers or you're interviewing for a job that's not the exact same thing you've done for the last 10 years, right? So you've got to get that right. Okay? Who do you want them to think you are? You can start with that, and then you could provide the backup. Okay? So, I mean, it's very hard for me to give precise advice. I don't really know the situation or what your goals are or what job you're up for, but, you know, like that's a starting point. Okay? If you're having to do a presentation on yourself, this is what I will say. Don't tell them anything about yourself that they're not already interested in. So if they've given you a list of requirements for the job, this is who we're looking for. They have to have this. Only talk about that stuff. Don't talk about, you know, well, here are my food dislikes, and this is my taste in clothes, and, you know, this is what I like, my favorite music to listen to. Don't say stuff like that. Anything irrelevant that they haven't already shown an interest in is a waste of time, in my opinion. If they have specific questions about that stuff, sure, then you can give them the answers. But if you don't know what to do, you know, just start talking to them about the things that you know they're looking for. Okay? And beyond that, the only other thing I think they would ever want would be the standard soft skills. You're professional, you're confident, you have great communication skills, you have some emotional intelligence, you only say things that are appropriate, and so on, public speaking skills, etc. That's what I would say. I'm going to do the next two comments, and then unfortunately I have to wind this up. Chaos says, thank you, appreciate it. No problem, Chaos. I like your name, by the way. Dim Lord Urza. That's good to have a name. Hello from Maine. Do businesses tend to prefer extroverted personalities over introverted personalities? How much does personality matter to a business? Once again, okay, the answer to that is going to cover the entire continuum. Okay, everything. There are some organizations that don't give a rat's ass about your personality. Other ones, it's the only thing they care about. There isn't any one personality that's better. Okay. For example, if you're up for a sales job, being an extrovert is probably going to be regarded more favorably. If you're up for a research position, being an introvert is probably going to be regarded more favorably. Okay. It depends. It depends what you're going for. The perception is that different personalities may give you an advantage for certain roles, right? That's a perception. That is not scientific fact. And even I don't really know the answer to that in absolute terms. I mean, I have seen introverts that are amazing salespeople. If you have inside salespeople that they're basically order takers, so a customer calls and they take your order and they help you. I've seen introverts excel at that because they a lot of times will have the technical knowledge about the product. So any kind of question the customer could ask you about the product, they can answer. And they're pleasant about it. And customers really respond to that. They would rather have that than some flashy, hey kind of salesperson who doesn't know anything about the product or about, what possibilities are doable. So, you know what I mean? Like it really depends on the situation, on the culture, on the role. There is no better personality than any other. There is a place for every type of person, and there's a place for every type of person to excel. There's also a place for every type of person to hate their job. Okay, so you have to really mix and match it. Thank you, Christine. It's been a pleasure to have you here. So that's where I pretty much have to wrap it up today. Thank you so much for you guys for showing up. There's 41 people here. That's awesome. I hope you got some value. Once again, just for the hell of it, I'm going to quickly plug my courses. I have this one if you want to get hired, and I have this one if you want to learn business. So check those out. Link in descriptions if you're interested. Other than that, thank you so much for being here. I will be back on Wednesday where we're going to talk more about getting a job specifically, less about the business stuff, more about interviewing and how to get hired. That'll be on Wednesday, same time. I hope to see you there if you're interested in that. And don't forget to check out my second YouTube channel where this live stream and all the others are going to be there. There are a lot of them are there already, and this one is going to end up there. They all end up there. So if you want to see these, maybe you missed one, you want to see it, that's where they are. The Company's Expert 2. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I wish you nothing but the best, and I will hopefully see you later in the week. Take care.